Some chilling details in the aftermath of the Eaton Fire. We're now hearing new 911 calls that reveal a father and son, both disabled men, who were waiting to be rescued. 3 emergency calls were made as the flames got closer and closer to their home, but help came way too late and they died in the fire.
This is so tragic. Here's a timeline of what the Mitchell family experienced. The Eaton Fire broke out, as we know, on January 7th at around 6:18 p.m. is what they've pinpointed it to. 30 minutes later, LA County issued its first public alert. At 7:26 p.m., there was an evacuation order for people east of Lake Avenue. At 11 p.m., Anthony Mitchell Sr., who's the father in the story, who lived on the west side of Lake Avenue, phones his son in Bakersfield that the fire was getting out of control. About 4 hours later, there was an alert for those west of Lake Avenue. At 6:03 a.m., Mitchell Sr. made his first 911 call.
It sparks right now, but it's getting close.
All right, we'll give them that information. They should be there as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you, because I'm scared with me. My son's disabled, so am I.
Okay, they're on their way.
Thank you.
Erin Stone from LAist obtained these calls. She's here now with this really tragic story. Thank you for being with us, Erin.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you published these 911 calls with the family's permission. So tell us more about this story. It's just really horrible.
Yeah, so Anthony Mitchell Sr. had lived in Altadena and Pasadena for most of his life. He was 68 years old. He lived with a disability. He had a prosthetic leg. We used a wheelchair, walker, or cane to get around. He had a son, 35-year-old son, Justin, who was paraplegic and had cerebral palsy. He required about 2 or 3 people to get him out of bed into his electric chair. And his other son was not there the night of the Eaton Fire. He was actually in the hospital, and he was their main caretaker.
Oh, what a tragic set of circumstances.
Yeah.
And there was, 11 minutes later, a second call that Mitchell Sr. called 911 again, saying his house was actually on fire.
Yeah, 11 minutes after that first call, he called again. The flames had already arrived. He was seeing flames in the yard, and the dispatcher once again said, we'll be there as soon as we can.
And we don't have audio of that call, so you see on your screen, my house is on fire, 2 disabled people in the house. I can hear crackling now. I can see the flames. The dispatcher says, okay, and you're in the residence right now. He responds, yes, we are. Myself and my disabled son, we're both disabled. Hurry, please. You can imagine the desperation there. The dispatcher, okay, sir, we'll get out there as soon as we can. As we know, the fire department was so overwhelmed. This was such a chaotic scene.
Yeah.
We focused a lot on seniors who weren't able to get out. I think this is the first time we're actually able to kind of go through what the disabled community is up against in these types of situations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people with disabilities need more time to make a plan to get out, to take the necessary medical equipment with them, and also have a plan to go somewhere that can support their needs. So as we know, those evacuation alerts west of Lake Avenue, thanks to reporting from the Los Angeles Times, came far too late.
Yes.
All right, so there was a third call for help. Mitchell Sr. then calls a family member in Arkansas. Another 911 call is made. Here's that call.
And he said he called twice, and they said they were on their way, but nobody's here.
Yeah, we have a lot of calls in that area.
The house is about to be on fire. I see embers everywhere, and the backyard's on fire.
Got it. We'll notify them of that information, okay?
Oh, it's just unbelievable to hear. Does help ever arrive for them?
Unfortunately, no. Once help does arrive, about 2 hours later, the house had already burned down. The family members received a call that the house had already burned down with Anthony Mitchell Sr. and his son Justin inside dead.
And I think, you know, a lot of people hear the dispatcher there being very, very calm. That's their training.
Exactly.
But you hear the desperation from the family members. I mean, this situation, so tragic. Are there any types of reforms people are looking at here, or things that can be done? Because, as we said, the emergency alerts just didn't reach people in enough time.
Yeah, so I spoke with disability policy advocates and experts who work on this specifically, emergency response, and they told me that, for one, evacuation warnings need to come with plenty of time for folks to evacuate. In this case, only an order came, no warning came. Usually those warnings say, if you need more time to evacuate, take this as an order. So early warning is key. Having a separate number for people with disabilities to call instead of 911 is something else that advocates are working on, as well as training 911 operators to ask specific questions about the type of disability, what they may need, and direct them maybe to resources that can support them. Another big thing is having a specific emergency plan, partnerships with paratransit agencies, for example. The county, I reviewed the publicly available plan. There's no specifics in there about evacuating folks with disabilities. The mass transportation aspect of that plan does reference LA County's largest paratransit agency, Access LA, as an option, and as well as LA Metro. Access LA was never called in the case of the Eaton Fire, and the county sheriff and fire department declined to answer my questions about that, citing ongoing investigations into fire response.
Well, listen, what happened to the Mitchell family is just absolutely horrible and heartbreaking, but hopefully change comes in the future for people with disabilities who will need help in an emergency. Erin, thank you so much for highlighting this story and for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
For a link to Erin's article on LAist, check out our website, kcalnews.com. All you have to do is click Seen on TV.